This is the podcast where we talk about the 1979 animated Japanese cartoon produced by Nippon Animation for the time slot 6 p.m. Called Anne of Green Gables. Now, with me is
Irrelevant, and let us keep this thing going.
I'm Simsman, and I'm here to bring absolute loss of peace.
I'm Vamp the Vampire, here to bring you the giggling in the background sometimes.
Right, we're going to talk about episodes 20 through 24. It's a regular gig. Watch the episode before the podcast. Now, episode 20. Sam, you're up.
Alrighty. Episode 20. I'm just going to go off right off the bat and say I liked the first half more than the second half. And that's just due to flashbacks happening in the second half. But to talk about the first half, Anne's like, hey, I'm Anne. Nothing out of ordinary, right? But we get to, turns out Marilla has a cold, not
Migraine.
a cold, but a migraine, intense headache. So Anne immediately is like, all right, let me get some of the work off your hands, let you have some rest, all right? Because she wants to take up responsibility, and this is the thing I love with Anne, is that she's such a good kid, and she's just not like, oh, I guess Marilla's just gonna have to deal with it, Lel, and then she's just not doing anything. She's taking up more responsibility, and I mean, like, that's sort of why she was brought in, was to, help alleviate take some of the work off of their hands. So it's like, yeah, perfect. Even though, like, at this point, it doesn't even feel like there's a huge expectation to sort of go out of your way, like Anne did with Marilla. So that's pretty cool. That's just such a casual environment, yet she takes it such pride and whatnot.
But
So, yeah,
she still fails. She burns the pie.
Oh yeah, she does most of the tasks just fine, making breakfast, everything. Turns out she left a pie in there in the oven and became burnt. It's not a big deal though. It's just a pie. Hey, yeah, it was a really good time. I liked it. Second half, sort of Marilla's like, oh yeah. I just want, yeah. Anne made lunch and had Marilla have lunch in bed. That was cool. One thing I didn't mention is that at the beginning of this episode, since Anne took up these responsibilities off of Marilla for the day, she went to go tell Diana. She's like, "Yo, Diana, I'm gonna be helping out Marilla today. I'm not going to school just for this one day." Yeah. And I remember some comment from one of the characters, either near or just before that scene, something like that, where she's like, "Oh yeah, it's been like a year since I've came to the Green Gables." That's sort of a pervasive, like a thing in Anne's head throughout the whole episode.
It's the anniversary.
I liked how most of the episode was like all the stuff when Anne was doing the thing. It was very visual. Like there was very little dialogue. It was just, let's show Anne doing the thing and some music.
Yes.
And that made it more relaxing.
Oh yeah. My personal favorite bit of what you just said was Anne making the eggs and whatnot. Oh yeah. I like that.
I mean, I like that part because I like watching cooking videos with no sound, like no people talking on YouTube.
Yeah, this is a very Master Art show. I mean, we are doing this show because this is Master Art, one of Master Art's favorites. But this, just Anne looking outside after like 20 seconds of studying and be like, "Oh my God, nature!" And then a later episode that we're gonna talk about, she goes out berry hunting. It's like, oh yeah, this is a Master Art show, just in many aspects. And so the food cooking and just the good vibes, good chill times I feel like
Yeah.
that's just an extension of that for sure.
Yes, I have fallen into the swamps trying to get through.
Well, there you go, folks. Yeah, you heard it here. It's just there's more to it than you might think at first. I'm not memeing, I promise. But yeah, I don't have much more to say on this episode. Like I said, the second half wasn't as engaging for me.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's. I don't have anything to say either. So
the second half is definitely like what I would call a light reflection / meditation
yeah,
on what's happened thus far in the series.
I
Yeah,
think
that's all I gotta say.
the entire episode is like that. The
to an
entire
extent, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
to
the
it.
first half does a
The
good
first half sets it up, I think.
Okay.
sets it up and does a good job of showcasing, just exactly how Anne has grown. Instead of
Okay. I would like to mention that Marilla is a complete hypocrite because she didn't remember that it was the anniversary of Anne coming to the Green Gables. But then
No,
when
yeah.
she's talking with Matthew, she scolds him
Yeah.
because he also didn't remember. So
How
that
could
was
you
a
forget
funny
this?
moment.
I think that's the thing people do
Yes,
a lot
that-
in real life.
that's the thing that people do. But it was funny.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah.
Also, one thing I would like to mention, not necessarily about this episode, but more about the show in general, is that you really get a feeling of the seasons changing. It
Oh,
used to be
yeah.
winter, and now it's spring.
Yeah, and they showed it too. They had like the whole thing with the icicles melting and then all the
Yes.
snow falling off the buildings. That was
Yes.
at the beginning.
And I
Yeah.
would like to share this shot. It's the reaction shot of all the students of the ice melting. Everyone is scared, but Gilbert acts all smug. Like he was scared for a second, but then he started to smile.
Oh yeah.
'Cause he's Chad.
He's got a smile for all the girls, so they know it's
Yes,
safe.
yes, exactly. He wants to show off. So about the second half, I think it was boring. It's just flashbacks, an excuse to use reuse animation.
I don't think it's just an excuse to reuse animation.
Yeah,
it is
but
that, but they do manage to make it not feel contrived.
I also wanted to say that I hate the sound of Anne crying. It's the worst thing in the world.
Is it the worst thing because you want Anne to be happy?
No,
or is it the
it's-
worst thing that because she's a bad crying actor?
I don't know if I would say that she's a bad crying actor. I just hate her voice when she cries. It's awful. Like I don't want to hear it. It's not because I love Anne or because I think she's my daughter or something like that. It's just awful. It's just an awful sound.
Yeah, and the expression she has on her face every time.
Yes.
And malfunctioning.
Yeah. But
It really
she
strikes.
changes. She changes as she grows up.
Yeah,
She cries less and less, and when she does cry, she's less annoying.
Marilla's changed quite a bit as well.
Yeah,
Like that you can trust.
everyone changes
Yeah.
in this
Oh,
show.
Marilla's the one who's changed the most. These are
Yeah,
my notes.
definitely.
Especially, I have a little notes for episode 22 and 23 about how Marilla's changed.
But
But-
she's still a little bit cold towards Anna.
No.
A little bit.
No.
Just
If anything, she's absurdly
Yeah,
casual with
Yeah,
Anne.
like look at everything that happens in 23 and 24. Like this whole scene in 24 that is about Anne fell off, like when she fell through. Marilla isn't mad at her. She's just like, yeah, you got what's coming to you for doing that. I don't think she's cold. I don't think she's cold. Of 23, we'll get to that. But 23 has a lot of moments that are just really warm between them. I don't know how you could get that. I don't agree at all in any way.
The only one thing I have to add is how Marilla remembers like one of the names she has for the places was like the White Way of something. I can't. Hold on, I have it written down. The White Way of Delight. She remembers that, and it's a nice little cute thing.
I didn't notice that. Nice detail.
It is a nice little detail. She's just, it's one of her names. Cute. She partakes in some of the fairy delight. Anyway, that's about it. Everything else has been covered, I think. Mostly. Because this episode is a recap, so yeah. Continue.
Episode 22, Van.
Oh yeah. So this episode, I just wanted to preface this before my even summary of what happened. That though I don't have many notes, this was actually a pretty great episode.
Yeah.
This was a great episode.
Yeah, in this episode, early on, they're basically setting the stage here. Anne and Diana are hanging out with the other schoolgirls. They're all sitting around talking. One girl comes flying in. She's running for her life. She's out of breath. She has a rumor. Girl X. The rumor she has to share is that the current tutor is going to be resigning soon. What was it? Because he's going to marry with some girl or something. I can't remember.
Her student, his student.
Oh, that student he was always hanging out with, giving the eyes out. Yeah. So that's I think that's a cool payoff that they're actually like taking their relationship to the next level.
She's dedicated.
Oh yeah. I think they make a good, cute couple. So yeah, basically all the students are like, they start getting up on. Each one of them is like, I won't even shed a tear when he leaves, when he resigns, and has the speech to us. And then the next girl does the same, and everyone's like, I don't even give a fuck about him. Fuck him. Basically, that's without the swears and without the modern language. It was really funny because each of them stood up to say it, including Diana. Anne was the only one who sat down, and she was like, also like, yeah, he's not the worst guy, but but yeah, that's what happened mostly. that's the main event. That's a kicking start event. The rest is
and we get introduced to another major character, Mrs. Allen, who's dancing.
Yeah, and the minister.
Yeah, and the minister. Well, the minister's not that important.
Yeah, true.
And then we get this great scene of Anne Seanston dancing, and she's very inspired. And she clumsily just takes along Diana, completely forces her to dance with Anne, and it's very well animated. Like every character has a lot of movement and weight to it, and it's great.
How wonderful!
Just in that point, the moment they stop mentioning dancing and being wonderful, they start talking about the minister. The music stops.
Yeah.
The flowers stop. Just suddenly, like, oh, it's a serious conversation now. We can't have any of this fancy shit. Continue the plot.
Also, there's a weird shot of Anne off model that I didn't like.
I'm just going to mention, I guess, my favorite bit of this episode, though the Diana and Anne dancing scene was pretty great.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Yeah, the thing I we sort of skipped past was just I believe it was the teacher resigning in this episode, if I'm not mistaken. He was resigning, and all the girls sort of all the ones that said that they weren't going to cry. It starts with one crying, all right, and then two more, and then one more, and then two more. Some order like that. But it's just a very funny and good one. Anne is probably one of the last ones to cry. Funnily enough, even though she was the least strong opinioned about that, but she did.
And all this to the sound of a bagpipe playing. It's pretty great. And the best thing about it is that this is a flashback of Anne telling the story to Marilla, and of course Marilla starts laughing.
Oh yeah.
She laughs at everything nowadays. She just and your shenanigans. Haha.
There's the moment with Ruby when they are discussing if they want a female teacher or a male teacher. And of course, Ruby says that she wants a male teacher because she's more or less characterized in the entire show as the quote unquote slut of the group. Uh, I don't think it's good to call children slut, but okay. She wants a boyfriend, basically. um, and I also would like to comment on another theme in this episode, and the theme is education. There's the nice contrast between Stacy Sensei, which is the sensei or the teacher that's going to appear in the next episodes, and this old guy Philip with a mustache. So it's basically literally old school versus new school, which is funny. Um, I really like Philip Sensei. He was a good teacher. He wasn't a good teacher, but he was a good character. He was a sweet young boy.
The thing about his goodbye speech, is that it was so real, and I
Just
loved
matter of
how
fact.
yeah, it was very matter of fact. And it was just like this sort of whiplash. I guess is sort of coincides with the girls crying. Obviously, is that like they sort of have to confront the fact that he is indeed a human and has a human experience, just like
Yes.
everyone else,
And
even
that's
though
why
he's
it's
not the
great.
nicest and all that. It's like,
And that's why that's a great scene.
And he was extremely self-aware. He's like, oh, I know most of you hate me, but fuck it, I love you guys.
yeah.
I mean, that's
and
you have to be a masochist to be a teacher.
yes,
Yeah.
and I would like to mention that this is the 19th century. Teachers back then were not nice. Like humiliation was a good way of teaching things, and we never really saw this guy physically abusing his students. So
Yeah, so from
but
that perspective, he's
yeah,
the nicest teacher around.
like
He's
he
not
is.
overtly like upfront nice.
Yes, I just wanted to say that back then teachers could be a lot worse than this.
Yeah. We already
Yes,
talked
I know.
about this in a previous
Yes.
episode.
Oh, I wanted to ask you for your personal experience. Have you ever cried while saying farewell to a teacher?
No.
I
Nope.
have. No, I have not, but I've seen it happen with my classmates.
I've moved a lot in my life, so I've gone to a lot of different schools. So it doesn't really faze me when a teacher goes away or not.
Yeah, but
As a troubled kid and generally adversarial with the I'm an adversarial person with the public school system. I tend to not
Yes.
make
Also.
the teachers to be my friends too much. Like I think some of them can be really cool, but I never try to engage with them on a higher level to have this sort of a connection with them.
like
Yeah,
I'm the
same.
opposite. I always try to have a very good relationship with my students, even to this day. With my students, with my teachers, because they are the ones grading me. So I only have to benefit from that. Um, and I remember when I was 13, 14, not sure, my entire class cried when we had to say goodbye to our physical education teacher. Good times. Good times. More things. Oh, I wanted to mention that Phillips is going away because he's going to move to the city because of Prissy, who is one of his students.
Yeah. We already
Yes,
said this.
yes, but I wanted to mention that. Okay, he is not necessarily a good teacher, but he is basically putting the needs of one of his students in front of all the other students. And I think that's an interesting point because that's something that the other teacher, the new teacher, is not going to do. The the new teacher puts the needs of all of his students first. The other thing I would like to mention is at the same time that we are getting a new teacher, we're also getting a new minister. So basically, we have the two sides, education and religion, which back then were equally important. And both of those sides are getting more progressive, which is a cool theme.
Like they make in the next episode, I believe,
Yes.
or might have been episode 23. They make a comment about, Avonlea's fan is gonna get a female teacher. That's
Yes.
and it's the it's Miss Lind who says that, who is went to the feminist rally and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything more to say about this episode?
Yeah, we're getting a new female teacher and a female minister's wife. Basically, we're getting more female role models for Anne.
Yeah, and we should talk about that when we get to it.
Okay.
Which is relevant in episode 22. At least the introductions of it.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I had a lot of more things to say, but I don't want to talk about the next episode. So let's move on to the next.
All right, hold on. I got
it. You go first. But if this episode's still about 21.
I just wanted to say one thing. That teachers are very underrated. Being a teacher is a very noble profession, and that I'm grateful for most of my teachers, most of the teachers that I have through life that I had.
Hell yeah. Agree. They work themselves to death. Some of them at least.
They do work themselves to death.
They sacrifice themselves.
Yes, they're all masochists, and they should all kill their students.
The thing I just wanted to say, or add on to what I just said, is they sacrifice themselves, but it's like someone working at like a convenience store or supermarket or a clothing store in customer service or just folding clothes there. It's like they're sacrificing themselves and their time, but doesn't mean they're doing meaningful work necessarily. I
disagree.
I have a lot of problems with the educational system, not necessarily with like the individual teachers, but like
case by case, there's arguments, but
but like I don't. The educational system isn't an effective one somehow.
But okay, you can say that, but the education system is not equal in all countries and even in all cities and in all schools.
Yes.
It's a case-for-case thing. And okay, I had bad experience in school. I had bad teachers. I had to do things that I disagree with looking back to it. But education is extremely necessary. And that's a point that I wanted to make.
I do value education.
I do value education, but I didn't get most of my education from school. I didn't learn to read in school. I didn't learn to write in school. I didn't learn English in school. I didn't learn German in school. Like, I didn't learn history in school.
I learned a lot of history in school, but I think that school is not just meant to teach you things. It's also meant for you to think about it, like develop critical thinking.
Does school do that? I don't think school does that. I don't think school does. At least here, I don't think school does that here at all.
I agree that school doesn't do this, but
then why did you say school does that?
Because I'm talking about the education system in general. I'm also talking about college. Yourself. You guys have never been in college, so that's that.
Fuck college.
Fuck college. Fuck school in general.
It's kind of shit, so you have to take it upon yourself to teach yourself, kind of.
Yeah, but I only do that removed from the whole school thing.
Yeah, which is good.
The thing is, if you go to school, you are forced to think about it.
The thing
is, you're not somehow. You're not somehow. You're forced to repeat what the fucking teacher says so you can get a good number. It doesn't matter. Yeah. You're not forced to think about anything.
Is a thing I've done all the time.
Yeah, if you can just remember something right and repeat it right, then you'll get a fucking A. You don't have to think about things.
I think it depends to what courses you go to, what disciplines you have.
I'm talking about like fucking elementary school up to high school. I don't not college.
Okay. But like, okay, let's move on. This is a pointless discussion.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Anyway, I like all the fascination with the minister coming to town. Like,
Yes.
Marilla, like, apparently there's something she borrowed from Mrs. Lynde. It's like, oh, Mrs. Lynde has this minister at her house. Let me just return the thing to see if they're there. That was pretty funny. I thought, like, oh, and they even say like, oh, Mrs. Lynde didn't think she was ever getting the thing back, but because she possibly has a new person over, then oh, let me just return this casually. And you see the blush on her face, like she's basically a groupie at this point, just seeing what the hell she's trying to stalk on them. It's pretty funny. Also, this talk about like, oh, the minister's wife is beautiful and has puffed sleeves. He's fancy. Ooh, it might not be proper for that to be happening. What the hell is this minister thinking? He's a bit left wing, isn't he? He's a bit progressive.
Yes, he is. All the new role models in the town are more progressive.
Yeah.
Progressive doesn't necessarily mean left wing, but okay, let's move on.
Well, yeah, I'm generalizing.
Hashtag memes.
There's all this talk of like Matthew not going to church or anything. Like he constantly skips out. Is he just like secretly atheist?
No, I think
he's just socially awkward. We see this in episode.
He just doesn't care.
I added my notes that he's like kind of a neat, like memes.
Like now in episode, I want to talk about this when we get to episode 22 because there is a whole thing with Matthew not coming to see being very reluctant about seeing.
Yeah,
definitely. Right. Yeah, you can go on now.
When the minister's wife approaches them, she doesn't treat them like children; she treats them like equals, which is a very interesting note to open it on. Because she's kind of like not I guess rich. She's rich, and she doesn't she treats Anne like an equal. She approaches Anne like an equal, which I thought was interesting because Anne's like a 12-year-old girl.
I think she's the only adult to do that, like at first.
Yeah, at first. Yeah, which is very good. And then towards the end, it's Anne and Marilla talking, and then Anne is like, "Oh, I'm good at she's like, oh, we asked Mrs. Allen all these questions, and I think I'm good at asking questions." And then Marilla's reply is, the sub said it slightly differently, but her reply in Japanese was "so that she must," and then which is literally, I can corroborate on that, which I thought was very funny. And that's it. What I have to say. Episode 21. Episode 22.
Wait, I just had one more thing to say. In the scene when everyone is crying in class, Anne is trying to do her best to not look sad because of Gilbert.
You can see a shot where he's looking over at her when she's tearing up, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was very funny.
Yeah, it was just that. Move on.
Alrighty.
22, yeah.
So 22. This is... I can't deter... This is definitely one of my favorite episodes of the 5. I don't know if it's more of my favorite than 23. I still have to think about that a little bit.
I think this was the worst of the 5 episodes.
Mm. Yeah, I guess we'll get into that. All right. Yeah. Diana and Anne are talking near the lake, and first it's Diana sort of brings up how the minister and the minister's wife are going to come over, and Marilla has made lots of cakes, like pies and pound cake, various dessert snacks and whatnot. And so that we sort of get a shot of that, and that's relevant later on the episode, of course. And somehow it goes into Anne talking about druids and how she imagines them to be real, and it's this really cool visualization of one at the lake.
This is very like you get this shot. It was a podcast. You get the shot of like the druid and she's curling her hair and there's all this water emitting from her rippling, and it's very pretty. And you get this establishing shot that is kind of like very storybook of the woods. It's kind of a flat shot of the woods, and in the distance you can see the dryad. It's very cool.
Oh yeah, and the druid herself is just so colorful in comparison to the background. And in the first shot, where it's a reflection off the water, it almost feels like it's a whole new color palette. It's just very extreme and very interesting way to frame the sort of first look at the druid. Very romantic, I would say. Very fitting. So yeah, that sort of just goes on into and getting home and going to sleep, waking up. She has a cold. Don't remember that being relevant specifically, but yeah, she sneezed a bunch of times and it was really funny.
Also, she has a nightmare about the cake following her, which is a good foreshadowing for what is going to happen.
Yeah.
The cake goblin.
Cake goblin. That's a good meme. The cake goblin.
Because this episode, this episode, and get the whole recap thing. We'll get to the cake.
So, yeah, basically, since Anne is so interested in Miss Allen, the minister's wife, she's like, I want to make a cake to I want to personally make a cake for Miss Allen to try and have. Anne is sort of, I don't know if we sort of talked about this earlier in the episode. This recording of Anne sort of getting more aspirational female womanly figures in her life, and Anne is sort of immediately sort of hoping for her to be that case, for that to be the case, and it is. Turns out, but yeah, she's making a cake, and Marilla is sort of guiding her through it, and the cake looks like it comes out well. But when they come over, I said a but. Turns out that, and by the way, while this is all happening, our boy Matthew is working out in the field, like trying to stay out of everyone's way. He said earlier at the breakfast table, he's like, I'm feeling ill today. I'm feeling like I have the flu. I'm gonna need to rest. Goes outside to work to avoid the conversation of having to sort of be in the room or sort of attend the sort of meeting between the minister.
That is something I've done.
The wife.
Just like I'm gonna go on a walk, a very long walk. I don't want to be.
Just excuse myself. Yep. Good shit.
Oh, yeah. It's him sort of is sort of being a neat a little bit. I'm sure there's plenty of better words for it. They're less memey, but yeah, it's very in line with his character.
Nisha's good.
But yeah, so they come over, and sort of Matthew actually gets into a suit and all that, and Anne's like, hey, yeah, I would really like you to be out there when we meet them and attend. And he ends up not being there to shake their hands initially, but once they start going through the door, he's right at the doorway. And so he's a cool boy. He worked up the feelings, dog. Yeah.
Matthew is a sweet young boy.
Oh yeah. There's where he's at the table with everyone else, and everyone's having a good time thus far, and he just has like the nicest look on his face. He's sort of looking at the minister, but just the funniest, but like most endearing face. To the climax of the episode, where Miss Allen actually tries the cake first, and she has a bite, and she doesn't really make that much of a face about it. No fuss. And then Marilla, with her instincts, with her observing of Miss Allen, she's like, I'm gonna try this cake real quick, and she's like, oh my god, this tastes fucking horrible. I believe one of the subtitles did say horrible specifically. So yeah, Miss Allen is a boss. I sort of respect her in that way.
Oh yeah, I have a lot to say about Miss Allen this episode.
And basically, once Anne tries the cake herself, she's like, "Oh shit, I fucked up," and then she runs out the room, goes to cry in her bed.
And what happens
she's crying in her bed. She's talking to herself. She's like, "Oh man, I fucked everything up. Miss Allen's gonna hate me. She's gonna think I poisoned her. Oh no, everything's gonna be bad. Oh no, now the minister's gonna hate me. Oh my god. Oh my." Turns out that we see Miss Allen walk in pretty early on into and having her tissy or whatever you want to call it. So she hears most of what she has to say, and she's just like, she sits down on the bed and she's like, "Anne, it's all good." And they have
and
the
her reaction to that is the best.
Oh,
You were listening to me the whole time. It's cute.
Yeah, and then no, the first she literally says, when Anne thinks there's Marielena, she's like, "Oh, what should I do?" And then this Anne says, before Anne just jumps up and surprises, "Suppose you jump up and tell her so yourself." And then they gush, and then they gush over flowers, and that was.
Yeah, before the gushing of the flowers, what is it? Who directed this? The show in general?
Takahata.
Oh yeah. The Takahata hug happens.
Oh
between
yeah,
Alan and I just wanted to make note of that. Like, the Takahata hug is a thing, and I've put it's not. I don't think I originally put the name on that.
I did.
Think you did, Master Art. Yes, you did.
When watching,
but I just wanted to acknowledge that. It's very nice, and I liked it. And sort of everything was good after sort of Anne sort of realized that nothing was a big deal. Miss Allen being cool, everything worked out. It was perfect. Yeah, it's something I like how it was resolved quickly and not much of a problem, because it's really just like a kid, just like getting over having a problem with it. Like, she's making a bigger problem of it than it actually is. And that's the thing I've done as a kid, is like get into my head like, oh my god, like Anne was talking about how, oh, I've ashamed Marilla. Oh my god, what am I gonna tell her? Oh, what am I gonna do?
I have a lot to say about this episode.
Everything in this episode came off like it was all executed really great. There's a lot of I'm sure actually, Master Art, you said that you have a lot of quotes for this, and I believe Irrelevant too, where it's just like it's really in the writing that sells this episode. A lot of good, decent visuals too.
Yeah, very good visuals.
So yeah, there's a lot to get into. I guess I'm gonna grab some of my screenshots real quick. I uploaded one of them earlier of Anne just mixing the batter of the cake or something. It's just like, I love the with her with the mask. Right.
Yeah, like all of the cooking in the show is done extremely well.
Oh yeah, she always holds things and has her hands in particular ways. It's like, yes, this is the additional touches I liked in the beginning, and it continues to be the case, and so it's really sick. Hey.
Anything with the food is just
like, I like them preparing the food more than like showing the food, because it's more interesting.
Yeah, like the whisking in particular, I really like.
Because like if you look at how they've made it and stuff, we get the montage of that. I thought that was a lot more effective. Like, oh yes, She said,
Like-
"We'll let the matter of." I have that in my quotes as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can take it away. I just want to say this was very funny how this came up, and it was funny the first time, and
Yeah.
Marilla just sort of waves it away just because it's unnecessary fuss and not something to be concerned with. And Anne brings it up back again when she has suspicions that it's the baking powder's fault, baking soda's fault, that her cake tastes bad, which I don't think baking soda being bad
No,
would
no,
make the
it
cake
can't.
taste bad.
It
It's
does-
just for
baking, like baking soda doesn't taste like anything.
Yeah. So yeah,
You have to add all the vanilla and sugar and shit, and that's what makes it taste.
yeah, the baking soda meme was just sort of unreasonably funny to me. Whew. All right. I don't have much more to say about 22. Just because I think you guys will get into it, and I'll add my bits. I didn't have many like written down bits for this one, but yeah, Taka had a hug and crying, talking to herself. Definitely big highlights for me.
I just wanted to mention one quote. It's not one quote. It's more a thought, a comforting thought, which is, "It doesn't matter how shit your food is. You can always throw it to the pigs." And that was it.
Oh yeah,
All right. Yeah.
very educational. All right, the main stuff. I have a few notes here, like when you had the stick in the water and it makes like a rainbow thing. That was cool as hell.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
really
Yes.
creatively done.
Oh yeah, because the shot is the first shot is Anne and Diana. You can see the reflection in the water, and it's this. It's kind of a flat composition, but it's very very evocative of like again, I have a storybook, so like just the golden age of illustration, late 19th century illustration. Look it up. And then you have the shot of Anne and Diana, like the like it's them. It's symmetrical of them holding the stick in the same pose, and then you have it in the water, and then it ripples out, and it's extremely well done and pretty.
It makes rainbows, and that's cool as hell.
Yeah.
I also like the follow-up conversation where like
yeah.
what's her name? Diana's like saying, "Oh, triads don't actually exist." Like, oh, and like, oh yeah, but it'd be fun if they did.
Yeah. Oh man,
And then
Anne and Diana complement each other so well.
they're so nice. Like, and Diana just kind of like believes in it for her. Like, oh yeah, totally. I'm gonna be a good friend. And like, yeah, dryads, yeah. That's cool. Also, for some reason, in my notes, I have sips tea, forget it. So I'm pretty sure for some reason during the episode, isn't it Marilla says like forget it, and basically when there's also this part where she gets a compliment, and she literally transcends gravity in her imagination. She just rises up from the earth in like one of those mystical scenes, and just because she gets a compliment from the minister's wife, she's just so goddamn happy she got like any sort of compliment. It's amazing.
And deserves attention. She's a sweet young girl.
Okay, because I love Matthew when he goes like I don't want to go just after the meet with the minister. Matthew's like very reluctant about it, and his performance again. We've talked about Matthew's before. But his performance just sells it really well. How he struggles with his words and the kind of story he has, and like where specifically also in the dialogue where he tends to hesitate, and like it's extremely well done. It sells it to me perfectly, and you get this whole thing with him, how he moves his hands and his eyes, so they're kind of darting around, and it's like it's very realistic in that way. And then you have after that, you have a scene like, oh, I can change Matthew's mind. Anne goes, I can change Matthew's mind. Marilla is like, no, I don't think Matthew won't change his mind if he's set on this. which is an interesting thing for Marilla to say. Because it's something that she wouldn't. I don't think she would normally say that with anyone else. But because she knows Matthew so well, she would say that with Matthew. Yeah, and then Anne wants to decorate the thing, and then Marilla's first like, no, forget it, and then Anne's like, but Mrs. Barry house, it was all very pretty, and she comfortable. It was a feast for the eyes and the taste, and then Marilla is quiet for a while, and then she says, well then, do as you like, only mind when you leave enough room for the dishes and food.
Her face really, when she heard that there was a comment, positive comment received upon that decoration, really sold it. It was really good.
Oh man, Takahata shows us the best faces.
And what's really great with that, just one bit, didn't want to interrupt you, but is that she's facing away from Anne.
Yeah.
So it's like we're the only ones who really get to see it in its full, greatness. That facial expression.
I love both in Heidi and this, and like any of the movies Takahata has done is like he puts a lot of focus on body language, also on faces, and I like how Takahata does faces. They're very unique in a way. Can't describe it correctly.
He tells a lot of the story through the faces.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
I thought the scene of Anne dressing Matthew up before the guests were coming, it was nice. It was cute. It added a lot for me. I can't describe why, really, other than like, hey, I'm helping Matthew on this.
Oh yeah, it's just a nice thing to see, sort of that Matthew, doesn't dress up enough, that she would need some help, and also that like she
doesn't really know how to do it. Yeah, and she's not upset. Yeah, like he wants Matthew to go there, but she's not disappointed. In fact, she's very surprised when Matthew does show up for the dinner, and Matthew says that he had a good time. And then he's like, and then they have the scene with Anne and what's her face, Mrs. Barry. I like how Mrs. Barry like kind of just peers into the room, and then you have her body language is very like tells the story of what she wants to do. And very reluctant. She pulls around back, and she goes to sit, and then she goes to talk to Anne, and it's so good and sweet and cute.
Oh yeah, that first little bit you posted is sort of also great. Not just for this reason, but this is sort of an additional bit of us only seeing what's the character's doing and feeling, so this other character sort of being oblivious to it. And it's just like it's not always like characters just looking at each other nonstop. It's characters, doing their own things, and so these. Not just a reverse shot of their close-up of faces.
Yeah, I hate
Everything's so unique.
Takahata does that really well, because it's it's essentially it's a mid shot, but Anne's like lying down. It's good. It's good. Like the characters in Takahata stuff, and to some extent Miyazaki stuff as well, and some other people, but not many. You have like time to breathe when they go to in a location, in a location in a shot. You have time to walk through it and breathe and shit. And that's you have them gushing over the flowers, and then what I really liked was what made this episode for me great for me is the end. I thought that made it like the favorite of the bunch, because it's like. And literally says, "Isn't it nice that tomorrow? Yeah, isn't it nice that tomorrow will start as a day with no mistakes yet?" And then Miguel immediately replies, "I'll warrant you'll make plenty of mistakes."
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Oh, that was so great.
Okay, I didn't screenshot that, but Anne says, "I'll never make the same mistake twice. I'll always learn." And then Marilla is like, oh, I don't know if that does as much of a benefit when you're always making new mistakes. And then Anne is like, and this is so perfect. There must be a limit to the mistakes one person can make, and
Yeah.
to which Matthew's reaction is the greatest face ever.
And then they all laugh.
Yeah, and then they
Yep.
laugh, and it's
It was
beautiful.
it's a good conversation.
It's a
Oh,
great
yeah.
conversation.
That's like,
That's
and the scene just like perfectly encapsulates the series so far. Well,
Yes,
recently at least.
yes,
and she's going to make lots of new mistakes.
yeah. Of
That's
course.
all I have to say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the fact that Anne specifically in that conversation remarks of how that's a comforting thing that
Yes.
that there's a limit to how many mistakes one person can make, and I'm like, wow, you want to know what? I feel like I've thought this before, and it is comforting. Yeah.
Yeah, it is comforting. Yes.
And like just thinking about like, oh yeah, she's got the future in mind and she's gonna grow over this series. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm sure on the rewatch this is also a really satisfying remark of hers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Episode 23, I guess.
Alrighty. I guess 2023 dog. Alrighty. 23, another great episode.
Yes.
No. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically Anne is invited for tea by Miss
Oh.
Allen.
Oh yeah.
And she goes there. And that's all.
Well, that's just the second half of
Oh, and the
episode.
animation sucks in this episode.
Okay, I don't know. Like, I think the animation sucks for, like, not doesn't suck. A lot more choppy for all the characters.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
Anna's still very
it's
lively. I like what happens with the characters of Anna. I like how it's written. Like, you can, like, I don't like you guys like doing this plot synopsis, and I guess it helps. So you guys do it, but I don't think like a lot of the plot synopsis do it like justice, because it's just a fucking like it's not
Yeah, the meat is
it's not
actually
really the meat. It's not really the meat of what's important about it for me at least.
Yeah.
okay. Like there are, I think there's one episode that's worse animated in the show, but that's late. I'm not, and I
But
don't, I don't want
like
to
I don't watch this show necessarily for like all the body language is so good, all the emotions still have weight to them, and the animation might be choppy. I don't care if the animation is choppy. I care if the form is good. I care if
Yeah,
the keys
but the
are
thing
good.
is,
If
the
they
thing
have
is,
ways to it.
the thing is, this episode did very little for me. It's not just oh the animation is bad. It's oh the animation is bad and I got nothing else from it. Like if if the characters developed more, if
I think
I,
the characters developed in this episode.
I don't really care about Miss Allen as a
I like
character.
Miss Allen a lot.
That's a personal thing because I think Miss Stacy is a better role model. Like
I
she's
don't
the
care if it's like they're different. They're supposed to be fucking. They're not supposed to be like, oh, they're both role models. Oh, they're both fucking.
yeah
I think I just look at things differently than you now.
yeah yeah, that's fine. I just got very little from this episode. That's it. Do you want to talk about the Jesus shot?
I will talk about that later. Well, there's a lot to talk
Okay,
about this
okay.
episode.
Go on then.
Yeah, I'll just summarize it a little more than you did somehow. There's not a lot of like intricate, detailed, crazy stuff that there's to go over in my summary, but yeah, Anne sort of wakes up and she's chilling around, and she ends up going and hunting berries.
Yes.
Dog. That was probably my favorite part of this episode, and
Yeah.
just a quick little aside. I will say I do like 22 overall better after thinking about it, but I do enjoy quite a bit 23.
Mhm.
I like all the
But yeah, she goes. Go ahead.
The berries look
Yeah.
Freaking-
She goes berry hunting. There's a whole bunch of shots, just random stuff like bees, squirrels, butterflies, or birds in the distance. And she goes on a whole excursion, ends up falling into a little river or something. But yeah, after she gets those raspberries, yeah, it's hanging out at Miss fucking Allen's house. That's her middle name. Fucking hey, yeah. Quick question. The girl who was there, the other little girl around Anne's age, was she just another student sort of visiting?
Yes.
Well, I think it's interesting, or something notable at the very least, that Miss Allen isn't just inviting Anne over to hang out specifically. This is like a thing she does with other people, other students, and so it's sort of spread to the whole classroom in a way. Possibly, we can assume at least the offer would be there. So I think that's helpful for the character.
In the last episode, they literally said, "Oh, she's been to everyone's house except ours. We need to have her over." So she does this with everyone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's stated. She's really good with it.
Oh yeah. The amount of effort Miss Allen is clearly putting into how positively she affects the environment and people in it. Yeah. I think that's really great.
Because I liked how the episode started with and like they didn't show us like Marilla giving Anne the letter, the invitation to go to Mrs. Allen's house, and went to the post office, which is interesting because we haven't seen the post office before, but it's interesting seeing the post office and seeing like Anne getting it and stuff. It's interesting that it started that way.
It's world building.
Yeah, I think it is. It's very good work.
And she's so surprised to get that letter because you'd think we would be sending it to her.
I love.
And who would be calling her Miss?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and I love the body language with Anne.
Yeah, she's so excited.
So excited about it when she gets home.
She called me Miss.
Yeah. Even when she goes to Marilla and she's holding it, and she was holding it behind her, and she's like holding it up to her and like it's falling close to her, and it's so good. And then Anne gets very sad because she thinks it's gonna rain. Matthew thinks it's gonna rain, and she might not be able to go. And then she stands out looking outside, and she goes to bed. And then waking up immediately, noticing it's not raining, immediately in her pajamas, runs to Matthew, saying like, "Hey, it's not raining! It's not raining! It's not raining! I can go! I can go! I can go!" And then there's a scene with Marilla, and Marilla is like she says a couple of things. One of them is, "I don't mind you being good, just don't break the dishes," which I thought was a funny. And she also says, "The trouble with you, Anne, is that you think that you're thinking too much about yourself. You should think of Mrs. Allen."
Yeah.
I thought that was because normally what Marilla would like scold Anne for it. She wouldn't tell it necessarily tell it straight, or she would later. But she would scold Anne or punish Anne in some way. And now she's very straight and honest with Anne. I like that Marilla is like, "Yay, Anne, you shouldn't do this," and she doesn't scold Anne for it. She knows that Anne will take this seriously, and will learn from this for herself.
Yeah, and she does.
And yeah, she does.
Instantly does.
That's the important part, and that's what's good. And then this comes back because after Anne falls in the water, and she's like, "Oh, Marilla, I was doing the strawberries and fell in the water," and Marilla's like, "Anne, go, change your clothes."
You're dripping everywhere, and you're gonna get a cold.
Yeah,
it's not good.
And then she knows how to keep Anne under control.
Yeah. That was a good scene. That was a good scene.
She knows her bullshit. Yeah. Also with the raspberries, when she falls in, I love how she prioritizes like keeping the raspberries out of the water.
Yes.
Like that is the most important thing to her, rather than her getting wet. She's like, "Oh, I got wet. That doesn't matter." But at least this the raspberries, well, strawberries are safe, whatever we're calling them.
Raspberries.
They're straw raspberries. But yeah, that's the most important thing because of what she's going to do with them. Because she's going to give them to Miss Allen, and that's the most important thing, which I've said like 3 times now. Someone continue.
And she goes to Miss and she talks about Christ blessing little children, which is this portrait, which Anne looks at. That's a great scene with Anne looking at it and she's thinking about it. It's the same as last episode, where Mrs. Allen just kind of lets Anne think for a while before she talks to Anne.
I wanted to talk about Christ blessing little children. First, I wanted to say that that picture is a cool picture. I think this is going to be a good meme between the 4 of us in the future. And it is a great moment of visual storytelling. But they immediately, after showing the picture, start to explaining what the picture means. What do I mean by this? So in the picture, there's this little girl dressed in blue, and then the character design of Anne is most of the times dressed in blue also, and the one in the picture also seems to have red hair. So when you watch it, you immediately make the connection between Anne and the girl in the picture. So it is supposed to be a good moment in storytelling, but then Anne literally starts to explain how she relates to the girl in the picture, and I don't really mind it because okay, this is a show meant for kids and adults and people of all ages, so that's fine. But I like subtle storytelling. So in my opinion, it would have been better if they didn't explain the meaning immediately.
Well, because I you can kind of see where it's coming from, but it gets Anne to talk about with Miss Allen. It gets that relationship.
Yeah, but okay,
it's more poignant for her.
That's a
like,
good.
I don't really care about the picture itself, other than when Anne.
But you could have Miss Allen talk about the picture without Anne spilling the beans that she relates to the little girl.
I guess, but I don't care about the picture. Like, I don't think the picture is the important thing in the equation.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm just talking about my personal preferences because, okay, the show wasn't necessarily made for me and for me only.
No, it's fine that you don't like it, but I also want to say that I don't think the picture is, like, I don't care about the picture. I don't care about the quote-unquote subtle storytelling of the picture. I don't think it's that subtle in the first place.
Yeah.
In the second place, I think it's more interesting when they talk about it.
It's not the point of the episode.
I just want to remark real quick that well, one thing, I guess, the picture isn't the point, but Anne is also the type of person to just talk about whatever's on her mind, especially with the person who she admires and she wants to open up to. I think it makes a lot of sense in this scene.
I'm not saying that
so I didn't even think about that of like her explaining the painting.
It does.
Yeah, I agree. It made sense. It makes sense. It's not out of character, but it's just my personal preference.
Yeah, that's fine.
You don't have to agree.
And before you move on, I just wanted to say how I just wanted to upload some screenshots of a sequence where Miss Allen has Anne sort of go into this room before she does, because Miss Allen has got to go prepare something, and everything's done with eyes line of eye, eyesight.
Takahata does that really well as well.
Does that really well, and I just wanted to make this an example of it, where she looks at, she comes in the room, she's just looking forward at the middle painting near the chimney, and it cuts to that, and then it cuts back to her, and then she is looking, and then she looks to the Jesus picture, and then it cuts to her behind her, where she's looking towards the Jesus painting, and then she walks forward, and looks at her, goes to her face again, cuts her face,
Yes.
and cuts to that. So
And then it cuts
it
to
just
what's the face walking past Anna. It's very well done.
oh yeah. So I just thought this was a good chance so to get a good example of like that breathing time, the way it does it with the eyesight and all that. Just like a thing that I felt like should have I made sure to make mention here at least. Yeah. All right, so Mal, you can go with your other stuffs.
I don't have much to talk about. I just wanted to mention that, like I've said, she's a good role model, and in my opinion, her best quality is the fact that she understands the personal problems of all the children,
Well,
and
I
she
don't
tries.
necessarily. She tries to, at least. She tries to get them to talk about it,
Yeah.
and
She
in that way
she
she
addressed.
understands it. But she
Yeah.
also approaches the children like equals, and that's important.
Yeah, she approaches the children and she tries to address their problems. So that's what I would like to praise her for,
Okay. If
and that's
anything,
it.
okay, I want to talk about the hugs.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Kind of
and
fist
how
bumps.
that ends as well. It ends with "You're a bit heavy." That's what Marilla says, and
And
then
then
they
it
both,
cuts
and
cuts
then
to
they
them
both,
walking.
yeah, and then laughing. And it's I like how comfortable Marilla and Anne are with each other.
Oh yeah,
That's one of the best things about the show at the moment. It's really good.
very very cute scenes. A very good, wholesome show.
Awesome
So,
show.
And then we get the good montage of Anne talking. And you know what they're doing, feeding chickens, doing the farm stuff. You know, it's sweet and cute. And then for the first time in the show, it's not satisfied to merely end on that. It's like, no, we're gonna have a new teacher. And it's a woman teacher. Oh no, we get to 24. I don't like 24 that much.
I like 24. This was a good episode.
It's alright, but it's not like I like the second half and I don't like the first half.
I've
I
only got
think
a few
everything
episodes.
I like everything between Anne and Marilla. I like everything with Anne and Diana, and I like everything with Anne and Stacy, the new teacher. But besides
No,
that,
I
no.
like this episode because I like this episode because I like to see Anne interacting with her friends, and that's something that we haven't seen too much until this point. Uh, I think this is the one of the first times that Josie Pye starts to be an annoying bitch, and we also see the characters interacting, the characters that to this point are just minor characters, but that become more important as the series goes
Yeah, I
on,
guess.
like Ruby and Jane.
I guess. Don't think it did it that well though.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
it's sort of like generic
It's very straightforward.
children interaction.
Yeah, and that's I
Where it's
didn't like
like
it because of that. It didn't like it had the interaction between them that didn't have that much personality to it.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like
I think it was kind of original because of how personal Anne takes it. Like, it's an affair of honor. That's the title of the episode.
Yeah, but
She had,
I didn't like how they execute. I didn't like I didn't like how they set it up. I didn't like the interaction. I didn't like how Anne fell off the roof. I didn't like how that was done. I like that it happened. I like in the second half when Anne talks about it with a lot of people, but I don't like most of how it's done in the first half.
yeah, yeah. Personally, I found sort of whole bit of hanging out and getting dared, the kids daring each other.
It's so
I found that
boring.
to just be so inconcise. That could have happened in so much less time, and so I just was
Yeah, but or they
bored
could
through
have
a lot
done
of it.
in just with so much more personality than they did.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Like going through it, it's just a lot of like like close-ups on Anne's face and like the other girl being smug, and that's really it. So it wasn't even
Okay.
visually interesting.
Can I talk about the
Go for it,
second
go
half?
for it.
Can I talk
Okay,
about the second
second
half?
half.
Okay, there's this great interaction with Marilla when Anne goes up, and it's incredibly well lit because it's kind of you have the candlelight, but she literally says, "If I could blame anybody on what happened, I would feel so much better."
Yeah.
And then Marilla's like, um, I would have maybe scolded you for it in the past, but as you say, you'll have the suffering of it, and that is everything. That is I love that. That is the development between Marilla and Anne. That is
Yeah, I agree.
good.
Oh yeah.
And then
It-
Yeah, that makes it worth it.
after that, yeah, go ahead. You
Yeah,
guys go ahead.
it was all Anne's fault, and that's what makes it that's what makes it worse. Like it's all because of her pride.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
One could even say it's because of her narcissism, but okay.
The most interesting thing for me in that scene was specifically Marilla.
yes,
Like
yes.
I don't know how true to everywhere else this is, but the old the adults in my life wouldn't have been so they wouldn't have progressed as their characters, and they would have felt it like an obligation to scold anyways, even though they might know the nuance of the child understanding.
Yes, Marilla
So
is
this to me just shows me even more so than it already has, which has been plenty, that Marilla is a great person and she's cool. I like
she
her.
developed so much more. Like I might have said this probably off,
Yeah, you did.
off the podcast that Marilla is my favorite character in the whole show because of her arc, and this is just a great example of it.
Yeah, I agree.
She's
sure.
now a professional shit poster. That is the best way to describe
Yeah.
at the moment.
And
She's not a shit poster. She's the one who reacts to
Yeah.
the jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what I mean by it. Like, she has a fun time now,
Yeah,
as opposed to before.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
unnecessary seriousness involved, which helps the series, helps the character, helps my enjoyment, helps everything. Helps Anne too. You don't need extra people being hard on. As a kid, more people being hard on you, even though you're being hard on yourself and like trying to be good and whatnot. It's not
Yeah,
generally helpful.
There's no point in having adults being hard on yourself when you are already hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Miller's great. Yeah.
There is one other thing I'd like to say about this episode. That is everyone carrying Anne. That is
Yes.
the cutest thing ever.
Yes.
Like just
Like it's-
her being kind of helpless. Oh, damn. But yeah, just being like helped by everyone, like that she knows. It just looks the best.
I like everyone visiting Anne. Like, okay, obviously Diana is going to visit Anne, but then you also have
the classmates.
Miss Ellen. Miss Ellen, okay, obviously they are friends, but then Rachel also visits her, and okay, I guess they're friends also. I don't know. And then the old guy visits her in that, and then we get the character reveal of Miss Stacy, and that's
Who forces Matthew to drag her into the house.
Yeah,
didn't force it.
he's
She
so
just
scared.
No, Matthew didn't have time to say much of anything somehow. I'm pretty sure that's
He's like,
somebody's forces. Can you let me in? Can you let me in? And Matthew doesn't have any time to say unless she goes. I'm pretty sure that falls under forces. I'm not.
Yeah, and
Also,
she's
I like the
it's just
fact that Anne has her face. She can't see who she's talking to, and she thinks she's talking to Marilla.
And the Miss Stacy meeting Anne, that was really funny. That's a good screenshot, Master Art. Very cute.
yeah. And then afterwards, when Matthew's just so relieved that she's gone. It's like, oh, that shot there. He's just, oh, I can relax now.
Not because he had to work all day, and he was worried about that.
Yeah. He's a good dad. He's a good caretaker.
Yeah.
Love him.
I just want to say how Miss Stacy's her puffs on her sort of jacket, because it sort of goes over the dress and whatnot. The puffs are so big, it's fucking insane. It's pretty great.
I think we're mostly good, yeah.
I just wanted to ask you guys if you have funny daring stories that you want to share.
No.
No. Okay.
I can't really remember. Like,
I
I'm
don't think I ever
I'm sure I
did.
did some stupid shit, but it's been
So
so
I
long.
did stupid shit, but never as a dad.
Like
Yeah.
the stupid shit
Yeah.
that people made me do was not dangerous, but it was mostly obscene. But okay.
Yeah, this wasn't a dare, but I did end up climbing on like Anne, going onto like not the highest point of a building, not like the highest roof, but I did go on a sort of roof, sort of like a basement and a first floor, sort of height off the ground. So not too big of a deal, but yeah, little dumb stuff like that. Kids doing
Okay.
whatever to entertain themselves. Too real. Too real.
How are y'all feeling about Anne so far?
It's good shit. I love it.
Yeah.
She's great.
I'm liking it
I'm
quite a bit.
I want to see how they bring Gilbert into the next few sets of stories. Like, I feel that's going to be a thing, especially with the new teacher and Miss Howland. Like, there'll be some conflictions. I hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of stuff is getting set up. A lot of different relationships and whatnot. Stuff is getting me excited. Yeah. Let's do another episode of this relatively soon.
Yeah. I do want to keep watching this show, so prefer yes.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Please
Yeah.
watch.
Please
watch.
watch.